Hi, Andrew Bell here. No wonder the Gold Coast has been officially rated as one of the 5 perfect climates of the world. We're truly experiencing some of the most spectacular weather that I can ever recall in the last 25 years here on the Gold Coast. No wonder it's created a tourism boom, where I heard this week, for example, that the Gold Coast is having its highest tourist numbers on record for a month of May. I thought before going into some of our other key topics from the annual property report that we should cover some updates on a range of other latest developments. Well, of course, we're still digesting the budget, and undoubtedly there will be changes made to it. But there is little question that it's going to have an impact on the economy. I think most of us would acknowledge that the last few weeks have slowed in economic activity, just by the fact that it's taken quite some time to digest the contents of the budget. It's certainly regarded by most that it's going to have a declining impact on the economy, but not a major impact on housing price growth. There's an expectation there will be some rising unemployment, but on the other side of the coin, there is also an expectation that we might actually get some easing in interest rates. I personally think that's unlikely. I think the greater probability is that interest rates will stay at their record lows for a longer period of time, and so are unlikely to see rates rise until 2015. Within the very fluid and uncertain economic outlook, the expectations that house prices will increase is true, but probably between the 3 to 5% range through the balance of this year. But it will vary from city to city and region to region. We should also note that the budget had no direct, or maybe to some degree no indirect influence on property prices. There was no changes to negative gearing, there was no changes to foreign investment regulations and so on. But there is an effect on consumer confidence, which is washing right through at present. I also think that there could be a benefit from the debit tax, which will actually make some more high wealth people look at negative gearing as a preferred option in a bigger scale than's been done to date. There's also increasing analysis of rising property prices. It's amazing how quickly word gets around, where, for example, when I was on a marketing trip to Asia a fortnight ago, everyone I was speaking to had the same perception, and that was that Melbourne was now oversupplied with property, and most people felt that Sydney was overpriced, and that perhaps Brisbane and southeast Queensland was now the preferred option for purchasing. You might recall in my last e-newsletter that I was suggesting that the cities with the strongest price growth may well be the ones that you have to stay clear of. There's a report out by Michael Matuzik recently that supported that concept, saying that if you wanted to know where the residential market is heading, you should actually follow sales volumes and not reported price growth. Michael was saying that there was close to 470,000 residential sales currently taking place right across Australia this year, and that's up 14% on the same time last year. The strongest activity across the country has been in New South Wales, up about 18%, Queensland's up 14%, and Victoria's now coming off into third position at 11%. But take a closer look at Queensland, you'll see that Brisbane activity was up 29%. There's some strong performances on the Sunshine Coast, up 39%, Rockhampton up 37%, and even Cairns is enjoying 30% increase. But where is the star performer in Queensland? It's the Gold Coast, which is up a massive 53%. Michael goes on to say that rising sales indicate a recovery in the market, while of course falling sales suggest a market that's peaked or it's in a downturn. The report goes on to say that at this stage of the market cycle, generally speaking, there are improved market conditions for southeast Queensland. I think that's pretty obvious. He also highlighted that there's a lot of recent media attention on the top end of the Queensland market, and pointed out that the actual top end for Queensland is a very slim market, represents only about 3% of the total sales volume that occurs here annually. And therefore, whatever activity is actually happening in this segment of the market isn't reflective of the whole real estate market in Queensland. So those sales volumes figures certainly confirm that the Gold Coast is well and truly a safe and sound area to be buying your real estate at present. 2 other quick points. There are some interesting notes out of the Reserve Bank board meeting in May. The Reserve Bank noted that house price inflation had eased in the past few months from its recent rapid pace, and cited more acceptable auction clearance rates and stabilising home loan approval numbers as good signs of the market. It also stated that there was demand for both established and new houses and that had remained strong, according to all other indicators. You'll also remember there was a spike in inflation in the December quarter, which led many market observers to believe that interest rates may rise sooner than later. Well, the Reserve Bank Board noted that there was a lower than expected inflation outcome for the March quarter, putting inflation in the 2.5% to 2.75% range, and that's on an annual basis, and well within their target band of 2 to 3%. This certainly would suggest that there is no pressure on interest rates from this aspect, so it does appear to be steady as she goes for the balance of this year. But back to the Gold Coast for a moment, and that is for my final observation for today. And that is a report just out this week that shows business confidence is riding high on the Gold Coast. And that was because of the great weather that we've been enjoying, resulting in a tourist boom. The report noted that this year we haven't had the beaches washed away or the heavy rainfall of recent years, and the weather has been a major attraction for tourists. It also stated that with the drop in the Australian dollar, it's been sufficient level to drive many domestic tourists back to the Gold Coast and away from Bali and Fiji. So in summarising all of our observations from activity on the ground here on the Gold Coast, it's that there was in fact a definite slowing in the market activity in the weeks leading up to the budget, with so much speculation of how bad it was going to be. The immediate response or a continuation of that slowdown, but over the past 10 days or so, activity has started to pick up quite pronounced. Once again, deals are on the table and deals are on hold prior to the budget and now moving ahead. Life does go on, doesn't it? And it is the 5 fundamentals that ultimately drive our real estate market. And in analysing those, it does tell us that the market will remain healthy and constant for the foreseeable future. Well, it's back to more analysis of the property report in next fortnight's e-newsletter update. So until then, stay safe.